on with the letter. We're almost done, actually. With this stuff, we still got some other things to talk about. Like, all this is about just the letter and the email, and what's supposed to happen in there. We haven't even talked about what Larry is actually doing in there. Larry writes, "You asked me to make an announcement to each audience that you weren't the musical director, and I, in turn, introduced Erica as our musical director." Absolutely unbelievable. The person who showed up 5 days before opening night was the musical director. The one who's there for the last couple of rehearsals, tech rehearsals, run-throughs, dress rehearsals. Why doesn't Larry just say he was the musical director? He said, in our minds, I was the musical director. I mean, what so why now? Even in your mind, you don't believe your own mind now? I mean, what is this? How many musical directors does your show have? By the way, there was nobody listed in the program. I think you had vocal director and somebody's mother listed as musical support. He actually thinks that in an opera, a rock opera, the musical director, the most important job, is someone that he can actually do completely without, act as musical director, and then just make up names later and say, oh, I'll just say it was this person. Oh, you don't want me to say it was you? Of course, whoever he says it is, it's going to be like, don't you tell me, I'm not responsible for this. Don't you hold me responsible for this? I imagine that's what Peter said when he found out, or I don't know. I don't want to speculate there. Okay, I'll say it was that person. Oh, you don't want either? Okay, I'll say it was that person. Who cares? It's just the musical director. Quote, I asked you to stop making contact with the students. From all reports, you've stopped. Thank you. This brings me to our third and our most serious, in a sense. I didn't actually really worry about it. But case of defamation. Not that I was ever thinking legally of doing anything about this, but Larry did not ask me. He ordered me. And then he defamed me in front of a third party, this other woman, whoever she was. Somebody's mother, a teacher, the choreographer, I don't know, his wife. In front of her, he said, and this is way worse than holding me responsible for unrehearsed music and lost voices, and worse than saying I breached contract. He insinuated that I was a pedophile. Regardless of the insinuation, and everybody else, that's their first reaction when they hear this. And I don't know why else. First, and he said that I was doing something illegal by contacting the kids. First, he stopped me as I walked away. He said, "Evan." I stopped and turned around. He said, "I think you should leave now." Ooh, way to stay in charge there, big boss, man. I turned and walked away again. He stopped me again and said, "Evan, stop contacting the kids. They're minors. It's illegal." Of course, how do you respond to that? Obviously, I can understand why he doesn't want me bad-mouthing him. But that is exactly what he should have thought of before putting me in this position, saying that if I can't do the job, I should quit, because then I have no choice but to report him as impossible to work with. And, equally obviously, There is nothing the slightest bit illegal about me talking to your students. It wasn't illegal a week ago when I was working with them. And I will contact them anytime and for whatever reason I choose. I am a teacher teaching lessons out of my home. Parents leave their kids with me every day. It is my livelihood. For him to be saying something like that, maybe I should have taken some sort of action. Something's got to be done because this sick mofo has got to be put in his place and shut up. And him, I'm not saying whoever I'm talking to, shut up. He needs to be shut up. Didn't he used to be a mime? Anyway, the reason I stopped contacting them is because I had no more reason to. I had said what I had to say, and I had found out what I needed to find out. It is absolutely mind-blowing that after leaving specifically because he is completely impossible to work with, literally stupid beyond comprehension, and equally offensive. And by the way, when I say stupid, I know he's not retarded. If we're being really going with the book here, the DSM-4, he's not retarded. That's not his problem. This is a personality disorder. But we'll get to that here in a bit. It's not my place to say. I'm not a mental health professional. I think you should have him checked out. But it blows my mind that he is so arrogant that he thinks he can intimidate me into actually even further harming my business by no longer talking to students. They're minors. It's illegal. What? I'm not allowed to talk to minors? Why am I not allowed to talk to minors? I teach minors. That's how I pay my bills. After I'm no longer working for him, he thinks he can do that, intimidate me into not being around minors anymore by slandering me in front of this other person, insinuating that I'm a pedophile. We're not done, but we are done with the bulk of this, the email and the letter. All we got to do now is talk about what was Larry doing during the rehearsals. I said earlier that he sat there and did nothing. He said, run the show. And his instructions were at all times to not stop and fix what needed fixing. Obviously, he wasn't doing exactly nothing. So, in more detail, let's talk about what he would do.